Everything that was in that bill that the US Congress has passed with much opposition, popular opposition and political, much of it behind the scenes that you did not see, did not know about, but may have sensed, we can tell you, it will not all come to fruition. And that the crowd that is in Washington, D.C. right now will not last. They will not be in for the full 4 years. You're already not seeing, yet this is occurring, that many who are part of the machinery in Washington, D.C. are being removed from their posts or being informed that they cannot go forward with this plan or this program or that. And they are therefore revising things from within, without even the overriding power structure understanding what's happening. You may have caught wind of some of this already, or you may just be thinking, well, that sounds nice, but I'm not sure it's happening. Yet it is. We can well assure you, it is happening. You are not alone in any of this, dear ones. There are archangels. There are ascended masters. There are light beings. There are benevolent extraterrestrial friends, many of them from your own soul families, working very hard now, if we can use that phrase. They don't consider it hard work. They consider it joyful. And it just flows from them with real ease. But they are working absolutely with great focus to ensure that human life is protected in every country. And, again, it's not going to look that way outwardly. You're not going to see everything happening. You're not going to hear in the news, as we've mentioned before, about the ships that are over the war-torn countries, including the Gaza Strip, that are taking people up onto the ships to heal not only their physical wounds and their hunger, but their inner trauma. You're not going to hear about that on the news, and yet it's happening. You're not going to hear about interventions from Ascended Masters, ETS, the Intergalactic Confederation of Worlds, the Ashta command officers and people of responsibility in those organizations, as well as high-ranking councils, Ascended Masters, archangels appearing in the room during a high-ranking political discussion or planning meeting. Then the statements being made, to assure those who are planning something very dark, if you continue with this, you are putting yourself in extremely precarious situations, regarding galactic and universal law, and there will be retribution. Now, you see a lot carrying on, as if this weren't happening, because they are assuming, these ones who are putting themselves into real trouble, one might say they're assuming that their dark lords will come and rescue them, or that there's some way in which they are basically untouchable. Or that these are vague threats and have no real teeth to them, and won't actually be carried out. But they are greatly mistaken. And on your part, dear ones, you can just send light. Not so much pity, but compassion and higher love, to those who feel it's all right to take food from children, to end the nutritional benefits, to end the childcare, to end Head Start, which is nothing but positive for young people. It's important to just hold them in higher light, the ones who would take this from anyone which others work so hard to establish. Very important to hold them in higher light. And to say, I see that you're playing a role here, one that I and many others consider to be very dark. But what I do not consent to, is to despair, to go into rage, to go into shock or fear. Not for myself, my family. Not for anybody. We refuse to lend credence to your claim that you are all-powerful, and that you have the right to take away others' rights. You do not. So I'm just going to hold you in higher light. This is a position of great power, dear ones. You have in that moment superseded what is called power on your earth, very often quite erroneously. It has to do with moving things around on the material level, and being this influential presence in the room, which people bow to mainly, out of fear or desire to be like the person who is in control, and who are not in control. And whatever they are directing from where they are, it comes from a dark place which will not be able to maintain its integral strength, its integrity, in terms of its construct any much longer, because the light coming to the planet from your sun's soul, and throughout this entire universe, is just too powerful for them to carry on as they have been. So it's sort of a case of the thief trying to grab up every single jewel and painting an item of interest in a house quickly, before thievery is ended for all time. So it's a high-pitched assault, not only on rights, but on your consciousness. And we would say, the more you smile and show them a better way, as you would show the child who has never shown love a better way to be, by your example, and by your patience, and by holding them in higher light, which is higher love, then the more you are able to anchor that into the earth. And as you notice every beautiful thing, every beautiful leaf, blade of grass, flower, grain of sand that comes from the goddess herself, the more you are able to do that, dear ones, the less they are able to affect you with this ridiculous grandstanding, and this warping of what appears to be an organized government. Which is not a government. It's purely a corporation. And it's one that maybe had a small soul to begin with, then they sold it for material power. Money is one thing, but it's power that these folks want. This is desperately sad.